Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 401, A Tale of Two Sisters. This episode aired on September 28th, 2014. It was written by our showrunners, Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, and was directed by Ralph Hemmicker. And this episode was also accompanied by audio commentary from our showrunners, Eddie and Adam, as well as Jennifer Morrison. Now, before we get into our recapping and chatting about the season 4 premiere, let's go into a synopsis for A Tale of Two Sisters. In Arendelle, 5 years after the death of their parents, Elsa and Anna are preparing for Anna's upcoming wedding. While she's trying on her dress, Elsa finds a diary that makes her believe that her parents' death could be because of her. They learn that their parents weren't going to the Northern Isles like everyone believed, but to a land called Misthaven. In order to show Elsa that she's not the monster she believes herself to be, Anna postpones her wedding and books passage on a ship to Misthaven, or as we know the land, the Enchanted Forest, to find the answers she seeks. And in Storybrooke, now free of the urn, Elsa begins to roam Storybrooke. With Marion back in town, Regina sees that her happiness is once again out of reach. Robin needs to stick by his vows and stay with his wife, causing Regina to seek out the help of Sydney to figure out who Marion was and what she did to her to make the woman believe her to be such a monster. As Elsa is cornered, she releases a snow monster to protect herself, while she continues to search for Anna. When Emma corners the monster in the forest near where Robin and Marion are camping, Regina appears and saves Marion in the nick of time. She realizes that Henry's storybook must hold some type of power over how their stories play out. And if she wants her happiness, she won't need to change her past. She'll need to find the author to do that. Meanwhile, in a mansion in the hills, Gold and Belle begin their honeymoon. This home is filled with odd trinkets, but one catches Mr. Gold's eye. And while Belle sleeps, he's able to activate it with his dagger, revealing the sorcerer's hat.
Okay, I was right about that then.
Yeah, that's the sorcerer's hat.
I was like, oh, I know that hat. Everyone knows that hat.
It's a hat with stars.
Everyone knows that hat. I had a moment at the beginning though, as I'm starting to watch the episode, and I was like, Anna, what are you doing? Because the mom looks exactly like Anna.
They look very similar, yeah.
They're so, and so it threw me off at first. And I was like, oh wait, no, never mind.
It's worth noting. So I know, so this was written after Frozen 1, before Frozen 2.
Yes.
So yes, from Frozen 2, the parents are Iduna and Agnar. In Once Upon a Time, their names are Gerda and Kai. That's just worth noting.
I mean, but the second one wasn't written yet, so it makes sense.
No, exactly. But honestly, it was funny watching this again. It's been a while since I watched this episode, but it was funny watching this again. I'm like, wow, a lot of this was in Frozen 2.
Honestly, like, it's really interesting. They did a really good job. I wouldn't be surprised if like Disney just, tried to keep some of it the same.
I don't know. Either way, I still remember watching Frozen 2 and in like holding in my laughter in the theater the first time I saw it, because like Once Upon a Time got something right.
It's a miracle. This
is 5 years before Frozen 2 ever came out.
It did take a while for Frozen 2 to come out. They take a while to get sequels out.
Yeah, they do.
I haven't seen it yet, but I have seen people say that, like, I know you have said even, like, that Moana 2 is just...
It's an experience, I'll give it that.
It makes me... We haven't seen it yet. My kids want to see it, and I'm just like, after you told me, like, about it, I was like, we're going to wait till it hits Disney, because I'm not spending my money on what would have been a straight-to-DVD sequel in our day and age, so no thank you. Because it really, like, I miss these kinds of things. I was actually just kind of sitting and chilling watching TV today. I say TV, I was watching YouTube. And because, no, you'll love this. I was watching the Babish do like ranking like the top 20 Bob's Burgers.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen that one.
He actually sat there and ate all 20 of them. He didn't eat the full burger.
No, he takes like a bite.
You. Yeah. He takes like a bite or two. And it was a great experience. My husband's just sitting next to me, like actually enjoying it. Because usually I turn on YouTube and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, shut up. I like my YouTube. But so, yeah, I forgot my point. Anyways, I have feelings because Regina has worked so hard on herself and she deserves happiness. Yeah. And this whole episode, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm going to continue to root for you. I'm going to continue to root for you. Regina.
She only backtracks for like 10 minutes.
She does. She does good. And I'm like, I was really proud of her. But just there was so much that happened in this, but I did really enjoy the first line of, well, no one's been incinerated yet, so that's good. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Great line. Perfect. That sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
No one defended Regina, though.
Except for Henry.
Well, I mean, it's Henry.
But still, no, but it's no one defended her, but Snow did immediately go, Regina, are you okay? Which is also worth noting.
That is gross, but I really wish they had, not just kind of stood around. I know, Emma started to say something, but speak up. You had the chance. You had the chance. You could have spoken up. This was actually good CGI.
It was.
I was pleasantly surprised. The CGI was actually really freaking good in this episode.
They do a really good job with the ice magic. The rock trolls leave a bit to be desired. I will say, in the commentary, Eddie did say he thought the rock troll was some of their best CGI, and I wrote that next to him like, you sure about that?
But the ice monster is actually better. CGI.
I like that. I mean, I don't think we ever see it again this season, but or at all really. But I like that of the stuff that they bring in of the iconic stuff, they immediately go for Marshmallow.
But the snowman though with the spikes, I was like, yes,
it was so cool.
It was so good. Okay. What do you do when your wife is brought back from the past alive and you have a kid together? Go back to your wife. So I'm not mad at Robin.
No,
I'm not.
He said he's a man of his word, and he's a thief, but a thief with a code. And if he doesn't live by that code, then what kind of life is he living? I said this at the end of last season, I think. He does the best he can.
Yeah.
But it's also worth noting. It's stuff that's this is all that's going to be my catchphrase for this episode. It's also worth noting. We can't change the name of the podcast, but that's close to a catchphrase as I'm getting this episode.
I say so a million times every episode. So,
when talking to her, Robin says, "My feelings for you were and then are real." But then he says, "I loved Marion." That's a very important distinction.
It's very interesting because Marion's still in her marriage with the child, everything, and he is
decades.
Yeah, so far gone from that, and I'm just kind of this has got to be a mind fuck.
No, it is, because I don't fault him for how he handles the situation, even if it hurts Regina, and that makes me sad. He loves Regina, he knows that they're soulmates, but he also said at the end of last season that sometimes it's all about timing.
But then,
and fortunately, the timing really screwed them over. But
it would literally,
but it wouldn't feel right for him to just dump his wife for a woman that he's been seeing for a couple of weeks. Even the soulmate thing aside, it's been less than a month.
And I'll be that person. If there was not a child involved, that would have gone differently. I really believe that since they have a child together, it's not just the marriage aspect. I believe that if it was no child, their child didn't exist, it would have gone a lot differently.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to be hey, this is awkward. But I've met someone else and it's way after when you just came from. I know this sucks, but soulmate. But then you have child. So it's kind of, you don't want to be sorry, I'm going to stick with this chick when we have a child together. It's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
But then, Regina just locking up, what's his face? I'm bad at names. Sydney. Thank you. I haven't heard his name in so long.
I know, right?
I'm just sitting here what the fuck, Regina? Did you just forget? I love the moment too that she's you didn't forget about me. And she's yeah, no, never.
Because you can see the regret on her face, because so much of that is meant to really show how far she's come and she's realizing this. And to be fair, this was always the justification of he's not on the show, because we see him as the mirror in flashbacks every once in a while. But this is the first current timeline episode we've seen of Giancarlo Esposito since season 1.
We figured out that wasn't because of Breaking Bad. That was something else.
No, that was because of Revolution.
Thank you.
Ironically, this is my favorite piece of trivia. He left it for the pilot of Revolution, a show he was on with Elizabeth Mitchell, who will be introduced in the next episode.
That is so funny.
I love it. It works out. And to be fair, they were both free because Revolution got canceled.
They're okay, let's go. We'll jump back over to Once Upon a Time instead.
Let's just pull that whole cast. I'll talk more about Elizabeth Mitchell next week because she wasn't in. I have enough IMDb's to go through this week. We don't need to add on someone who's not even in the episode.
That's okay. I just need to yell about Mm-mm. You knew this was coming.
Yes, I did. I wrote down in multiple situations, Katie's going to be really conflicted about this Beauty and the Beast situation.
Conflicted?
Well,
That's
because
the word you use? I'm so mad.
I guess conflicted mainly because it's a beautiful scene to watch as Bobby and Emily, and I like the inclusion of the Beauty and the Beast music.
Oh, that was like that and the dress were like the
It was
two
beautiful.
things that I loved.
In the commentary, Jen said because they did an actual like premiere for the premiere. They did like in a theater, so there was an audience. And Jen said she's like, when the needle hits the record and the music plays, she's like, I've never heard an audience gasp like that.
Aww.
So like it's a beautiful moment, but it's not because it's those characters.
New. It's because I wrote later on that I'm like, if he would just swap the damn dagger.
Well, he did eventually.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
No,
if
I
he would
know.
have just done that sooner.
Yeah. Well, because it's also
it
the
would
thing of
be better.
It's the thing with like when he goes to Neil's grave to confess to his dead son that he did the stupid thing. Like so they only to avenge his death, and now that he's done it, he needs his strength to give it back. I'm like, dude, that's not that hard. But it's the writers confirmed this in the commentary. Like it's so much of that, and they called it addict behavior. I'm like, cool, my analysis is correct then, because he just can't seem to do it. And like this whole episode, we see him and Regina.
It's addictive.
It is addictive, and him and Regina are on very similar paths in this episode, and that Regina's happy ending is ripped from her, but she's on a path to get it back, versus Rumpel seemingly has it and just can't let himself get there.
It was a beautiful scene. I'm not denying that. It was very sweet to see her in the dress and have the music, but he's lying to her, and their marriage is a scam.
Well, to be fair, he had given her, so he did swap the dagger once they got to the mansion.
That's fair.
He doesn't take it back again until after, when he's weirdly fully dressed at the end of the episode. I'm like, not that I want to see any more skin, but why are you fully dressed? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I just don't know. I know at one point I did write ... Please no more time travel. Just no more. No more time travel, please. Straight into, well, she's awfully vanilla. Can you blame me?
It's a great line.
So good. I really like Sven, but then again, who doesn't love Sven? Like
Sven, funnily enough, was actually voiced by their editor, Mark Goodman.
Oh my god!
Basically, he put in like some like placeholder noises, and then they were gonna find extra like real reindeer noises to dub over it, but nothing they could find sounded as good or was as funny, so they left in his noises.
It was really good. It sounded like a reindeer. Like I'm not surprised. Like I'm not surprised that they left it in because it was really good and I really enjoy it. But I mean, Sven's always good, and they found they casted so well. Like
they really did.
They really, really did. Like the guy who plays Kristoff, no notes, 10 out of 10.
Amazing.
Anna and Elsa, like they're perfect. They are literally perfectly casted, and they do a really good job of doing that in this show.
Their casting department is fantastic. And it really, like you said, the woman that plays the mom in the beginning looks like Anna.
Yeah.
But the Elizabeth Lale who plays Anna, like, I'm not kidding when I say she could be a face character in Disney World. She's that good.
Like, how is she not doing that for a living?
She's turned into a horror queen. I'll get into that later.
Really?
She's done a lot of horror stuff since Once Upon a Time.
I'm so fucking excited for this IMDb. IMDb. See, I know my letters. I love that Emma is constantly forgetting she can do magic.
Yes.
If I one day found out that I have all this power and I can do magic, I would never stop.
But it's also, they made it a very conscious effort to see her put away the gun and try her magic. Like they had to make that, because so much of this part of the season is going to be about Emma. Like she's accepted that she has powers and family, but it's going to take more than just saying, yep, I have magic now. She has to really take on that. And it was interesting to hear Jen talk about stuff that I can't talk about in this episode because they recorded it at the end, apparently after the season, at least after episode 18, because they talk about so much throughout the entire arc. And but it's to the point of while I was watching it with commentary, I'm putting stuff in other episodes, just marking it with from 401 commentary and then the thing that they wrote down so I don't forget it. But like they talk a lot about her trajectory with her magic and how that works with her relationship with Elsa, because we're gonna see a lot of that in this season.
I just realized that I'm actually kind of sad. Like I'm happy we're starting season 4, but I'm actually kind of sad because I'm just like, there's only 7 seasons of this. What are we gonna do when this is over?
I mean, you said
Like,
there are only there are only 7 seasons. However, it takes us a year to go through 2 seasons.
that's fair. I'm
So,
just
like,
saying. I don't know why. I'm just like, it's like when you're reading a good book and you don't want it to end because you're enjoying it so much, but you know it's going to end.
no, I know, but like by that
I mean, that middle part.
we're starting season 4 right now, which means we have 4 full seasons ahead of us. We got 2 years of
Okay,
this left.
2 years. All right, that's not bad.
We got time, and
As
then
my
I'll find
husband
something.
listens to this on his route, no, God, my wife's doing this for 2 more years.
And then I'll find something else stupid for you to watch.
Oh, no. There's a reason I'm not watching the L Word. Oh my God, I wonder if I can find the DVDs at Second and Charles.
Oh, you know what'd be funny if you do? The music you'll have is different than mine.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna start slowly hunting the next 2 years for how many seasons was there?
I think 6.
Okay, I will start hunting down any DVDs I can find
Yeah, because
of
no,
the L
because
Word.
at least for the first season, some of the music is different than on
Mhm.
streaming than it is on the DVD because they didn't have the rights to use the music on streaming services because those rights didn't exist back then.
It's the same with Charmed. Like, the original intro song to Charmed is gone, but I have it because I own the DVDs. So
Yeah.
when I put my DVD in to watch Charmed, it's the correct song. When you try to stream it, it is not. Speaking of streaming, now you want to go home and see what's on Netflix? I don't know what that is, but sure. The giddy look on that man's face.
Like,
What's Netflix? I'll go do that.
I wrote down like, dude, you were just asking Netflix and she'll just shut up and say yes.
I mean, he said yes, but I just love that he's like, sure.
Yeah,
Like, he has no idea what it is. He's like, let's do that.
No, there was something that after Emma kisses him, because he does this thing of like, I'm perceptive. I know this is avoiding me. And then Eddie said something that was really funny about the face that she made after she kissed him, if I can find it. I wrote down the commentary notes are so
I can only
fucking
imagine
long.
how much you wrote, but
They're
then like
so
how
fucking
much
long.
you can't tell me. You should just like highlight things in red. Don't say it yet.
Well, I took out stuff that I can't say.
That's fair.
But no, so the look after Emma kisses Hook that's the look of, I'm not ready, but you keep trying.
But then the line of it's time for villains to get their happy endings. And I'm just sitting here like, I love this. I'm here for this. Can we do this, please?
Yeah. Well, I told you season 4 is a case of they actually, despite the fact that they have their 2 pretty distinct arcs, there is a storyline that goes throughout the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the hunt for the author.
See, and I like that a lot. That she's like, I need to figure out who wrote this book. And I'm just like, that never occurred to me. I'm like, it's magic. I was always like, it's just a magic book,
Yeah.
Like, for all we know, Gold, snuck that in.
Yeah, well, this is the first season, and we'll see more as this arc specifically, but even that the entire season goes. This is the first season that we're really made aware that the book is more than just a recording of what's happened. Like, it's like as Regina has said, she said this book has some kind of power. Like, it's clearly like it's divined that the heroes get their happy endings and the villains don't. And she's the one that comes up with that idea that it's in order to change her fate, she needs the author, because that's a really smart thing. Because everything since the curse was cast was without the author's intervention. So Regina was able to change things to an extent for herself because there's no author. Authorial intent means everything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
excited.
Her entire story since the curse has been driven by her, which is why she's been able to make significant changes in her life. But if she wants to truly change the fate of her archetype, she's going to have to do that herself.
And of course, I got excited. So I'm like, is that Merlin's hat? Of course, you said Sorcerer's hat, but I'm like, that's Merlin.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got excited. I was like, okay, Misthaven equals Enchanted Forest. Misthaven's a better name.
Well, it's that kind of thing of like, what you call your area versus what it's actually called kind of thing. So, I mean, Misthaven's probably what it looks like on maps of the whole world, but it means, you've got, it's a case of, so Arendelle and the Enchanted Forest are the same realm. They're just different kingdoms.
Yeah, all that made me think of what most people call where I'm from, it's not where I live now, but where I'm from.
Yeah. Well, it's also kind of like a case
it's
of
funny.
like,
I'm sorry.
It's kind of like a case of, because we saw the diary, clearly it's not written in English.
Clearly.
It's written in another kind of language. So it's almost kind of like every language has different names for different countries. Yep. It's just not what you like, Estados Unidos is not what we call ourselves, but that's the United States of America in Spanish-speaking countries kind of thing. The main fun facts I have that aren't commentary notes are just our IMDb's from our various our guest stars. So our main 3 guest stars, who we'll see throughout the rest of this half of the season, we have Georgina Haig, who plays Elsa. We have Elizabeth Lail, who plays Anna, and we have Scott Michael Foster, who plays Kristoff. And there's one more that I didn't do an IMDb on because you'll know his name. And I was like, how did I miss this? Because it sounds so much like him. Did you catch the person who voices Grand Pabbie?
No.
That would be John Rhys-Davies. Gimli.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
I forgot Gimli's name. I'm a fake fan.
I'll admit, I always get John Rhys-Davies mixed up with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. They are two very different people.
Those are very, very different people. One is King Henry VIII.
And one is Gimli.
Oh my God, one's a dwarf.
Or as a lot of people from our generation know him, the villain in Princess Diaries 2.
Oh, true. Him. Yeah, that is him.
That is him.
It looks very different without the beard.
He does. Also, he can stand to full height.
Okay, that was camera work.
I'm just saying. I know, but yes, I was like no, that's not him. And then also, when I was watching the credits, he's definitely on there. It's but when you listen to it again, next time you see him, you'll be like, oh yeah, that is him. And you cannot hear it.
I love that he did this.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Can't believe I forgot that man's name.
Oh I know. God. So Georgina Haig is an Australian actor, which. Honestly, again, her accent is phenomenal, so you really would never know. Yeah. She's done a lot of genre work, mostly things in crime shows. American audiences might know some of her work from Fringe or the AMC TV series Snowpiercer, which was an adaptation of the 2013 movie. I only saw the movie. I never saw the TV show.
I saw the movie Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
I never saw the TV show either. I didn't know they did a TV show.
Yeah. It went for a while. It had Daveed Diggs in it.
Really? I like him.
He, I think, played the Chris Evans character.
That sounds really good. Fuck, I need to watch this.
Yeah.
Because I liked Snowpiercer. I thought it was a good movie.
I liked it too. But her audition story is funny because she got audition sides while she was on her honeymoon, and she's in Australia. So she's like on on an island with her husband, and so like she got the side, so she had her new husband reading basically Anna's part while she does the self-tape, and then she got feedback that was like, we're trying to look for a little bit of a different kind of vibe, like a little closer to the movie. Can you try? But she had never seen Frozen before. Because again, this is like right after the movie came out.
It just came out.
So she had to wait until she got back to the mainland to redo her tape after the feedback she got. But what's funny is like so much with the Frozen stuff, like we're just being in Vancouver. She's from Australia. She doesn't really do cold. She doesn't understand, like with the snow and everything, like she had a hard time, I guess, with like Vancouver being so cold.
Which is so funny.
Which is even funnier because they have the Frozen arc in the first half of the season filmed between generally the months of July to October.
Oh, wow.
So like they filmed the Frozen stuff in the warm months. It starts snowing when they're done.
Which it's kind of fun though, because then it makes it more obvious that something's going on.
No, exactly. So I find that hilarious.
I'm enjoying the aspect of like she's not evil yet, I guess. I don't know, but she doesn't seem evil.
She's justified in being disoriented, and right now she's just looking for her. Right now her goal is to find Anna.
Yeah.
So like, don't assume Elsa's our villain.
Yeah,
she's
not
just
seeing that.
She's just a new character.
Yeah.
The villain has yet to reveal herself.
Interesting.
Yeah. But also the real villain, is she really the villain, or is the villain just society? That remains to be seen.
Now that's a conversation.
That is a conversation. I'll do Elizabeth Lail last. So Scott Michael Foster is our actor who plays Kristoff. He had 41 acting credits. He's been in a lot of stuff. I knew him from like 2 things.
Wow. That's a sentence.
The stuff that I wrote down for him. So he was in the ABC family show Greek.
I heard of it, never watched it.
He was on Blood and Oil. He was on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Okay.
He played Nathaniel in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. He was in Chasing Life. And he was also in season 3 of the TV show You.
Oh, he was. Oh,
he was. So here's the thing, though.
I've watched that.
Yeah. So he was actually, for Crazy, this is the fun fact I got out of his audition, not for Once Upon a Time, but for something else. So, because the thing I remember, I thought there was some overlap of something, but there was, but not the overlap I thought there was. When he auditioned for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, apparently they during some kind of interview that they were doing for SAG-AFTRA, like they were saying like that his audition was the best audition ever for the character of Greg, who ends up being played by Santino Fontana. But at the time, his hair was blonde because he was working on Once Upon a Time. So while he was working on Once, he auditioned for Crazy Ex, then didn't get it. But then they brought him back for Nathaniel in season 2, which honestly, I think that character worked better for him. because that character is more his style.
Okay.
But Elizabeth Lale is our Anna, literally
What
physical
have I seen
manifestation
her in?
of Anna. So Once Upon a Time was her third acting credit ever.
Okay.
She had graduated college 2 weeks before filming.
Wow.
So she was real fresh. Like, it was like they just off of I guess the tape she sent in. They really liked. They also got on a Zoom. She basically she just sent in a self tape, and then she did like, oh no, sorry, she did an audition like with a casting director in LA, and then she did one via Skype with lag, so she couldn't tell how well it had gone. But this was her first big like on set project, which I think is very cool. After this, she went to star in a number of horror projects, such as I don't know if it was ABC Family or Freeform at that point. It was a summer series after Once Upon a Time, called Dead of Summer, which was a summer series written by Eddie and Adam and Ian Goldberg for free. I wrote down for Freeform, I'm assuming, but that also starred Elizabeth Mitchell.
Okay.
It was like a summer camp kind of horror thing. She was Beck in the first season of You.
That's Beck.
She
looks so different.
The hair makes a difference.
That's Beck.
That's Beck. So I find it funny that both of them were in You, but in different seasons.
Sorry, my brain hurts right now because of course I've watched You.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I did not, you can't tell that's her when she's dressed as Anna. I hate myself right now.
But the other thing she was in was the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, but that's still, she's done a lot of horror projects since Once Upon a Time, weirdly enough. So I have a lot of commentary notes. I'll try and intersplice them, but at this point, we're just going to kind of talk at this point, and I'll pull things in as I can, because weeding through my commentary notes is hard because there's a lot of them.
You have
I highlight things, but like I write down everything they say. So I'll kind of go through my notes and then maybe go back through the commentary notes towards the very end. But I like the almost like a callback to a line that Regina said at the end in the season 3 finale to Snow, like saying like, I guess you were dumb enough to lose your castle. But she said to Emma, you're dumb enough to travel through time. Maybe you should have left things well enough alone.
Yeah.
Like,
just saying.
But like, removed of the circumstances that Marion being back gets in the way of Regina's happiness, she's not wrong. Deciding to save a life when you travel through time is a really fucked up, stupid thing to do.
Yeah. But
this was something that that they said in the very beginning about this, because they asked how Jen plays that bit of like, oh, you just ruined Regina's life. How are you gonna make up for it? And her response was, all the expletives I'm not allowed to say. But like she said, it was a very horrifying feeling for Emma because we spent so much time having a friendship, and clearly Emma didn't want to do something bad to Regina, but she also can't apologize for saving someone's life, which I get that part of it.
Like, I get it, but like, I don't know. You're not supposed to change time. You know my feelings on time travel. I know. And she did what she did. And I'm just like, you dumb bitch.
Like, I understand the thing of she's not going to apologize for saving someone's life. But there should be a forethought thing of like, don't travel through time and do this. And they kept going like, they kept going out of the commentary of like warning, like, no, don't travel through time at home, kids. And then Adam went, to be clear to the viewers at home, we did not actually travel through time, although we did travel forward in time, as we all do.
Oh.
They were having way too much fun with this commentary. You can tell it was later in the season when they were recording. I mean, I know because they were talking about stuff in episode 18, but
I mean, that is so far away.
Like, I mean, well,
so far away,
but it gives you kind of fresh eyes. I mean, if it's been so long, because with the first season commentary, it was always kind of close. It was like within the season, like they were recording it before like the season had ended, because I could tell based off of the way like Ginny and Josh were talking, it was like midway through the season. Like clearly, like the commentary for Skin Deep was done before the season was over because they didn't know if they had a season 2 yet, and like I could figure things out that way.
I googled real quick. What's 17 weeks away from today?
What is 17 weeks away from today?
May 12th.
Nice. Well, we have breaks built in between, so it's
not going to be then. But I was just like, if we kept going, what would this be?
No, unfortunately, that's again, but 418 for other reasons. It's one I'm very much looking forward to getting to, because 418 is Sympathy for the DeVille, our lovely Cruella DeVille episode, which also has audio commentary. Not with Victoria Smurfit. I don't understand why.
Why?
She'd be so much fun to listen to.
She would.
And I've already started pulling stuff for that half of the season, because I love watching the interviews of those women specifically, but of her and just the way she talks about that character. But we're not talking about Cruella DeVille right now. That's for 17 weeks from now. Or at least 10.
See you in June.
See you eventually.
Which means no one will be getting that until like, oh God, August?
Yeah, because we have like a 2.5, 3 month buffer. Like we're talking about
Yeah.
episodes you're not going to hear until like September.
My God, that is a long ways away.
It is.
2 years.
But maybe
So
we
even
don't.
though we'll be done in 2 years, everybody else won't.
No, they got time. But maybe we don't make Sleepy our DD.
No, he's so mad. He's so mad at him, and I'm like, you chose the worst person
No, he really did
to do that task.
But no, but like again, Elsa with the freezing, like it wasn't intentional. It was reactionary. It was she looks like she's gonna get hit with something. She's gonna do that. That so much of Elsa, like Elsa, there's so much parallel with like Elsa and Anna with Regina and Emma to varying degrees at different times. They kind of flip the dynamic every once in a while. Elsa, I think, still has more to do with Emma than anything. Like they have a much stronger connection as characters.
Well, they're in like the whole like magic being kind of controlled by their emotions.
Yeah, but both of them, they have such a strong connection with, and Jen said this in the commentary, Elsa was a crucial turning point. Elsa was a crucial turning point for Emma because they both come from a place of having powers that they don't know where they came from, and Emma doesn't know how to control them. They affected their lives in negative ways, and this is the first time that Emma gets a friend who will actually be able to teach her and understand where she's coming from.
That's exciting.
It's going to be cool to see them. What's really funny is like with the way that the arc is structured, because so much of it is, I mean, honestly, Regina and Emma's relationship is very central to this season. And it's the friendship blooming. We're saying friendship because that's what it is. And
yeah,
but honestly, I stand by my thing. Romantic, the world would explode. It's not a very healthy relationship.
No, but I don't care.
I know, but that's what fan fiction is for.
Look, there's a throuple there. I'm just saying.
There's multiple versions. You can have
there
so
would be
many
a
different.
Great throuple there.
What
because she's like with Hook now.
Yeah.
Give me that throuple.
Would that be? Okay, Captain Swan Queen. That makes sense. That's also that's a good portmanteau of their two ships.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, but so much with the way the way the arcs are structured. Season 1 has a lot. Season 1, 4A has so much more to do with Emma, and Emma has more to do with the guest stars. And 4B, Regina has much more to do with the guest stars, which just makes it really interesting that way.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
It's gonna. This is
we have to take breaks.
Unfortunately, yes.
I gotta look back at when our breaks are.
We have a calendar. It's fine.
We scheduled, and I'm like, when am I breaking? When are we doing this?
I know, right? But so Regina with everything, she's regressing. Obviously, it's like I say, it's always reactionary. Robin leaves her heartbroken, which as viewers outside we understand. I'm sure there's a part of her that was like hoping he would try and stay with her, but because soulmates. Mm-hmm. But we have all the context, we know everything. But like she'll do the right thing eventually, as we see. She saves Marion. And even the writer said, like, it's almost, you can kind of see that Regina's almost surprised that she did the right thing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to see. But, we'll see how she already doesn't see herself truly as the evil queen. Because that was the point with that scene with Sydney down in the vault. Which I found funny because Killian had just said the mausoleum is empty.
Yep.
So either they got there after him or he's just really unobservant.
I mean, it's Killian.
It is Killian. Okay, so the reason that like the minor flashback is there with Regina and Marion and everything through the mirror, it's there a little bit as a mislead because obviously Regina, she needs to see Marion because she doesn't remember her, which is hilarious. But we think it's going to be Regina seeing the moment so she can do this thing and go back and fix it. But really, what it is Regina seeing how far she's come. She's not that woman anymore. She's not the woman that is about to. It just says like there's something real special about the way Lana says like you know nothing about what I want, but what it is right now is your head on a spike. There's something real special about the way she said that. It really scratches an itch in my brain, and I don't know what's wrong with me.
We get to see the evil queen like purely evil again, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, because like she's not the evil queen anymore, and like what we're gonna see. We're not going to see that much Evil Queen in this half of the season, but I think we'll see a little bit more of her come out next season. But like, she's at this point though, with the flashbacks, the Evil Queen is almost kind of a rarity now. We don't see her as often as we used to, which is unfortunate. We're going to see a lot of her in season 6. That's going to be real fun. But like, it's almost like at this point, the less we see her, the more fun it seems Lana has with her, which is what's going to make 410 so much more fun. But that's a whole other thing. But we see her growth with that with Regina. Like, she doesn't want to go back to being that woman. You can see that regret on her face when, Sydney says, like, this is why you kept me in the prison for all these years, waiting till I could be of service. I knew you hadn't forgotten about me. And she's like, right. Like, no, I didn't forget about you.
Oh, why
Not
would
at
I
all.
do that?
Who could do that? But I did love when Killian's again at the beginning trying to talk to Emma, and she's like a little bit of a crisis now. He's like, "There's always a crisis. Perhaps you might want to consider living your life during it. Otherwise, you might miss it." And then immediately, Leroy, we're under attack.
Like, that doesn't happen in Storybrooke.
No, it's that's how Storybrooke works. But I wrote down so many small lines here and there. Like, I especially loved, "I'm not bossy, I'm the queen." Because and then talk reindeer man. Like, she's just. It's Elsa. Like, they just did such a good job getting her character in and working with it that way. And Georgina does such a beautiful job with her. And we'll kind of see, like, people don't seem to like that costume, like this new version of her dress. I don't know why, because they get mad because it's different. Contrarily, we're going to see Anna's, like, her adventure outfit. They get mad because that's identical to the animation. So which is it?
The dress is good though. I like the dress.
It's a good dress, and Jen was talking a lot about the dress was apparently very, like, heavy, like, because it had that long train.
Like, just if you look closely enough at, like, the corset alone, you can tell that is a heavy corset.
No, it is. It's, like, so jeweled, and they kept saying, like,
thick.
Eduardo Castro did such a beautiful job taking the dress from the movie and recreating something amazing. They went, because we couldn't use the real one because the real one was made of ice.
Well, like, and it's easy to draw. I'm not saying it's easy to draw, but it's easier to draw things like that than to actually put on a person.
Oh,
and
exactly.
So with what they had, they did a great job. When you've got aspects like that onto a dress, like the different materials, the different weights of different things, it's really hard to sew those things. And I guess people don't realize that. You can't. It's really like, look at Belle's dress. It is not the same as the movies. Like, it's not. But it's still beautiful in its own way. Because, like, I am one of the few, I'm realizing, that actually enjoyed the live action Beauty and the Beast. And I thought, like, the way that she played the character and, like, insisting on, like, the whole corset thing and everything that she did when it came to the movie, I thought it was great. I thought it was perfect. It made complete sense to me. I really enjoy the live action for the changes that were made. I am in the minority on that one.
That's one, the more I watch it, the less I like it. I can't fully explain why. Like, the more times I watch it, I'm just like, I keep finding new things. I can't pinpoint anything specifically, but I'm just like, I just get a feeling. I like some of the new, I like Evermore. Like, I like that song.
I love Evermore.
I'm minorly bitter that it's functionally the same song as If I Can't Love Her. They could have used that one. I'm just saying, but there has to be something with Disney theatricals, because this is now the second time where they could have used stuff from Broadway, and then they just don't. Like, they insert something that is functionally the same, but then they don't. So I said, that's
a whole nother thing.
That's a whole rant for a whole other day.
But no, I did. I enjoyed. I still enjoy it. I need to watch the stage performance they did. I never watched it.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, I saw it when I was 5.
No, I meant the one they did for
live
Disney.
action.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I ever watched that one, actually.
I need to watch it. It looks like, I heard it was great. People really liked it.
Nice.
Like, I love Beauty and the Beast. I just need people to, like, take a step back from the Stockholm Syndrome.
Try the other themes.
Try some other themes in the story.
Yeah.
I promise you, it'll be enjoyable. Give me more of the library.
I know. But that dress, though, I mean, aside from it being heavy and having a long train, Jen was saying she spent so much time walking around the dress because of the train, so much so that during rehearsals she would, like, basically, like, treat it as another person because she had to walk around where it was going to be. She eventually started telling directors, like, "Oh no, I can't stand there," and they go, "Why?" Because her dress will be there. Like, because she knows how after walking around it so long, she knows how it's going to move. So if they're blocking something, it's like, "Oh no, I'm going to be stepping on her dress if I stand there."
I love that.
I like that aspect of this. Oh, another one of after Killian's Netflix and chill moment. I have all the time in the world. That is, unless another monster appears and kills me.
It needs to be a sticker.
That does need to be a sticker. And then again, Sydney he kind of has the vibes of the gay best friend. A little bit with the I can probably tell you if you're wearing too much eye makeup, but change fate. That is outside my powers of reflection.
But it's so funny because he's practically in love with her. So
Yeah,
it's
I
like
know,
a
exactly,
little
but
weird.
it is a little weird. But this is the first and really only season, I would say, where like the flashbacks are telling a cohesive story in order.
Ooh.
Because with the exception of 407, which is the Snow Queen, that's going to have some flashbacks for the Snow Queen when you meet her
Yeah.
next week. That's the only one that's out of place. Everything else, every flashback we see is telling their story in chronological order.
Okay.
Like we see, obviously, we see the stories unfold. Like in season 1, we saw the story of Snow and Charming unfold, but it was all over the fucking place
All over the place. Oh
because
my
they were
god.
telling the story underneath our main storyline, but they were pinpointing specific points in the story that worked with the current timeline. This is more a case of we're getting all that context. We're getting it essentially we're getting all the context for what happens with Elsa and Anna and Ingrid, our Snow Queen, who you'll meet next week. We're going to get that as the season goes on. And like they're getting into the swing of things, and they talk about in the commentary how hard it is to balance everything that they want to do in this arc because they wanted to set up Emma's story arc. They want to set up Regina's story arc. They want to set up the story arc of the two of them together. They need to set up the Frozen characters. They have to set up the Snow Queen eventually. But there's too much to set up in that first hour. They have to bleed into the second episode, which is why I felt like this episode, the Storybrooke and Arendelle arcs feel a little unbalanced. I feel like we have a lot more time in Storybrooke than we do in the flashback than we normally do.
Yeah.
So
I wanted more of Arendelle.
No, I know, and we'll get more of their stories as we go, which is fine. But this is really our first arc that's it's not because we have continuations, but this is the first one that is functionally a sequel to a well-known movie.
Yeah,
and people don't like that because they're like, this was the season where everyone was like, but they weren't like, why are they doing just Disney now? People were just very upset at using a modern Disney movie. And I get a lot of questions. I used to get a lot of questions on my once account of like, how did I feel about this inclusion and everything else? And like, versus using all the original fairy tales. And I'm like, I will give this food for thought as someone who does research into fairy tales. They've mostly pulled from Disney until now. This is the first time it's blatant because it's brand new, but it's because like people don't realize Maleficent is a Disney registered trademark. You can have an evil villain in a Sleeping Beauty story, but she can't be Maleficent. That's not from the original story. That name is not the original story.
No, it's not.
That's a Disney registered trademark. The dwarves' names are Disney registered trademarks.
That's interesting.
People just I don't fault people for not knowing these things, but when they try and like make it a justification to dislike something, I'm like,
yeah,
babes, this is not doing what you think it's doing. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And like when I first saw this episode, this arc specifically, I viewed it through the lens of what it is, which is they're banking on the popularity of these stories. And for some, it didn't land.
Which is funny because the popularity was mostly children. Like, I say from experience.
Yeah.
Kids, I don't know what it is about Frozen, but kids latched onto it. The songs were great. I've got to say, it had to have been partially the songs. You put in Dina Menzel in anything. Like,
this is true.
It's just how, a lot of people are like obsessed realizing how good, how much they've enjoyed things that Lin-Manuel Miranda has done, which I find hilarious because some people were like, it's so good, but the music in this isn't good because he didn't write it. And I'm like, have y'all listened to musicals?
Yeah.
That's how these work. Like, you're just listening to a well-written musical. That's all.
Yeah.
Promise you, there's other ones.
No, it is. Well, when Frozen came out, I was a freshman in college. So there we go. That's how old I am. And I saw it in theaters 7 times. So it wasn't just kids.
Like I said before,
yeah. But so it wasn't just kids, but it was they were banking on it makes sense, especially because they will bring in other kind of more modern, not immediately, but more modern characters in the next couple of seasons. But it's just a fact of people just don't know, and that I'm not going to fault people for not knowing these things. But if you can just not like it, but as I watch it now and like years later, this is an arc that the more I watch it, the more I like it because I'm further removed from that thing of, oh, they just did this for money and reviews.
See, and I'm fully removed.
Exactly. You have no context for that. So I'm just enjoying it for the story that it is and what it brings to our characters. And I'm still seeing things I hadn't seen before because I'm a genius. I wrote down how much I love the bit when you can see Regina sitting down in her office and Emma on the other side of the door. I'm like, such a beautifully shot thing. And then the commentary, they're like, as soon as we knew we could do Frozen, we wanted this shot. And I'm like, fuck, that's from Do You Want to Build a Snowman?
I'm proud of you.
I got there eventually. It's fine.
It just took a really, really long time.
It just took a decade. It's fine. Watching the commentary, though, a decade later is a real adventure. Because I really loved Eddie. I went on the scene over Rumple at Neil's grave.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie going, we don't do deaths a lot on this show. I beg your finest pardon, sir.
Like, now you said that like at the end of the season too, is what you said.
Exactly. So he knows what happens in season 4, but
I don't. But
you don't. But I because then they started listing people that could have been around Neil's grave, and I'm like, you're listing off the deaths. I can say this. I realize I'm screaming. I'm gonna calm down. I'm an adult. It's fine.
Sorry, when it happens in real time, it's just
no, I know. Like I'm gonna calm down real fast here. It's not that serious, but it's also a case of when I have both headphones on, I can't always control my volume because I have I can hear my monitoring, but it's not that loud. But it was the fact of Adam was then like, oh, this person could be over here and that person could be over there. But I also just counted like I counted at least 5 or 6 people since the beginning of the show to just like in the first 3 seasons alone.
Yeah.
Like they weren't main characters. Like Neil was considered a main character. He was main cast. So I get that part of it. Like maybe he meant we don't do, but that's not true though, because Graham was considered main cast when they killed him off.
Yep.
So I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. But that's the fun stuff of watching the commentary. As I listen to this, I'm like, I beg your finest pardon. Let's see. So before I do still have some commentary notes. This episode is going to be long, but I guess so. Katie, before we get into our commentary notes, what did you rate A Tale of Two Sisters?
I gave it 9s across the board.
Sweet. Okay.
Because of reasons.
Nah, that's fair.
Which is mostly gold.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Which is usually why the points are docked.
No, it really is.
Fucking Rumpelstiltskin.
It really is. No, it is. You're not wrong. I gave this a 30.
I'm not surprised.
Honestly, I was, because I was watching it, and when I was done, I was like, I have nothing to take points off for.
It's solid TV. I'm just really bad at Rumpelstiltskin.
It's a good premiere. They get in as much as they possibly can. It's a little unbalanced, but not terribly. But it's just I was surprised with what I gave it, because what did I give it with my old? I'm actually curious what I gave it with my old scale. So I gave A Tale of Two Sisters. Okay, so on a scale out of 25, this is my old stats scale. I gave it a 4.3 for character, a 3.1 for continuity, because the Frozen arc is hard to place into everything. A 3.7 for plot, a 3.6 for pacing, and a 3.5 for personal. So actually, this didn't do super great. Out of 25, I gave it 18.2.
What happened?
I don't know. I just I guess
you got older.
I mean, this is maybe 2.5 years since I did this. I think I was more mad about the Marion thing than anything else. And that's where I lost a lot of points. Interesting. Yeah, now I'm just like, this is just fun television, and I really have very little critique of it.
It's
outside
really
of
fun.
A handful of things, which is fascinating. But so at one point during the commentary, they were talking about they said when you see Emma in a tank top, that she means business. It's DEFCON 1. They were talking about that because they were talking. Because she at no point is she in a tank top in this episode, but like I guess she's wearing one under the leather jacket, because they do go on a nice tangent about leather jackets. But I can't bring that up until we get to 410.
Emma and DEFCON 1 together is just what?
I mean, to be fair, it's Eddie and Adam. They're sci-fi nerds. We're gonna get DEFCON 1 out of them at some point. But because they're talking about Emma with the cutting down the chain, or they're talking about the trajectory of Emma and Regina's relationship, and how in season 1, it starts with Regina threatening her, and then Emma, apparently in the script for 102, she was going to chop down the entire tree, but they found out that was going to be too expensive, which is why she just cut down the branch.
Oh.
And then she went, I'm glad we didn't kill a tree. Which is fair. But that's what we were talking about her in the tank top, and Jen was saying that she gets physically hot when she gets riled up for certain scenes. So we're going to see even in this arc, there's scenes where she started takes with sweaters, but the final cut we get is her in a tank top. So it's like there's a couple of times this season where emotional scenes where like I'll look at Hook and go, I gotta take off my sweater, and she's like, I'm always wearing a tank top underneath, and I know that when I start to get hot, it's tank top time. whether it's an intense physical or emotional scene. That just tends to be what happens. And I knew exactly what scene she was talking about.
Ooh, intense.
It's an intense emotional scene from 406, probably. That sounds right. But like, they're talking about like her with her physicality because there's an episode later on in the season where like I guess they were there. I think this was 407. They were there on set that day, and she was icing her hands because she was like doing like an interrogation, and she had to keep banging the table. And she's like, we go to great lengths to not hurt ourselves like that much, but it happens. But it's like, sometimes what you're doing in reality, you're going to do it once, and it's not going to be that hard. Slamming your hand at a table 100 times, now that's going to require ice.
Yeah.
Because like she's like, I can't fake it. I just got to hit the table, and it's like a metal table too. But they asked her so much about how she balances. Like we talk about the fever dream that is the show, like talking about like magic and curses and Rumpelstiltskin and the Queen of Hearts and all this other shit. And like they asked her like, how do you find the realness in snow magic and stuff like this? And she's like, I've always taken the show very metaphorically. We're pulling these from these iconic stories and bringing them together. But you think, why is Emma staying? Why doesn't she just go back to New York? It's getting ridiculous. She's like, because her family's here, and that's the core of this, and the metaphors and the themes. And like for other people, they have more realistic problems of someone's sick or there's a bad day at school or stuff like that. And for us, those problems are curses and spells and villains. So that's what those things represent. They all represent things that are very real. So when she's working with something very magical, she kind of does like a substitution in her mind for something more grounded. And that helps her kind of deepen the stakes and make the performance more real, which I think that's a great way to go about this.
Oh, it really is.
Because at its core, it's a family show. It's about family problems. It's just this family happens to be fairy tale characters.
Which is fun.
Yeah. But they did ask her how she felt running around in the gown at the end of season 3. And because she said, she's like, first she went, when you're in a gown and it's raining and it's very wet and dirty at the bottom, using the restroom as a woman is very complicated.
Extremely complicated, to the point they make products so that you can wear it under your dress so you're able to lift your dress easily to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Which actually, for Anna, when she sits in the dirt in the wedding dress, they said, they're like, yeah, fun fact, every time she had to get up for a new take, the dress had to be brushed off for like 20 minutes.
Oh, of course, definitely.
Because even then, you can still see like she's still tracking something with it.
I don't want to admit how much I've worn dresses like that, but yes, that's exactly what happens. I've done that a lot.
She was asked if she was ever jealous of the big costumes, and she's like, no, I'm wearing like jeans and leather jacket and boots. I'm pretty comfortable. But then she got to wear the dresses, and she went, oh, I'm jealous. This is so fun and so warm because there's so many layers.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, okay, now I get it. At one point, they're like, their commitment. At one point, there was an extra that just, they were in the middle of a very deep conversation about, I think, Regina's intention at some point. And then they cut to like the scene when everyone's running away from Marshmallow. And then she just went, wait, did you just see that extra booklet? Like there was like someone that's running really far. Like, yeah, he was really committed. And then like they went, oh, and Leroy, well, he's always committed.
Yeah, always.
Lee Ehrenberg's always committed. But like she was, and like about the fever dream of everything. She's like, the conversations we have on set are kind of hilarious because if anyone ever heard us, it's the craziest thing they've ever heard. Like when I do angry magic, does my hand go this way or that way?
Sounds like a conversation that would also happen on like Agatha or Wanda.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's like, so like
they have hand coaches for that.
They did have hand coaches. Well, they had hand coaches for the Scarlet Witch also because they kind of like did choreography to kind of figure all that out, which is very cool.
Because the guy, of course, the kid, and he had the same hand coaches.
Yeah,
yeah. Because Joe, that's his name. I was like,
Joe Locke.
Forget his name. Joe Locke. Suddenly forgot his name.
It's fine.
Oops.
Oops. But we'll see actually later on with Emma, with the way she does her physicality. We're going to see, and Jen did this on purpose, because Elsa is going to be so instrumental to how Emma uses her magic. She's going to be taking some of Georgina's physicality, as well as some stuff from the animated Elsa.
Ooh.
I like when they do that. It makes everything feel so cohesive. Oh yeah, here's the, I was so far, not far enough in my notes, because here's the thing about, do you see that extra booklet? That was a really committed run. And Leroy, well, he's always committed. But I said this before, from the moment they found out that they could do Frozen, they wanted that doorway shot. Because like they just like, this is iconic and we want this, and it's gonna be good. And it is, because so much of the relationship, they say, with Regina and Emma, it's a tricky dance to be having this in the Frozen story. And Regina's story for the season it's like both of their stories. It is kind of paralleling the Elsa and Anna relationship, and to a point, every once in a while they'll kind of flip a little bit. Like Regina will be a little more Anna or a little more Elsa, depending on who needs what at the point. At each point. But with Rumple and the hat, They said it's the opposite of Regina's scene, where Regina's seeing how far she's come and how she doesn't want to slip back. It's he literally can't resist the power. It's impossible. And we see that with Sorcerer's Hat, which is iconic, and it's a new type of magic, which does make it funny because, I mean, it is a little bit of a continuity error because we do see the Sorcerer's Hat in the background in 112 in his castle. Because Jane Espenson put into the script, we see a magic hat, and the production team just put that in there. So, I mean, it's a small thing, but, like, it does exist. And this was the last thing that I highlighted from this, because they talked a lot about what they wanted out of the Frozen arc and what was going to be at the core for them. And for them, they wanted to make sure it stayed at the core, the relationship between the sisters.
I like
Because
that.
that's what the movies are. Like,
Yeah.
they could so easily just make this about Anna and Kristoff's wedding, but that's not staying true to the story that was already told. And it was important to them for it to not be about Anna's marriage, but to be about sisters and that kind of connection, because it's always, the stories are about love, but it's not just romantic love. It's familial love, it's sisterly love, it's friendship. There's so many different kinds of love. And we'll see a lot more of that in this part of the season, which will be really
And,
interesting.
poor wedding planning.
And really poor wedding planning.
I don't have a dress. I'm getting married tomorrow.
But then she goes on to say, she's like, the wedding is tomorrow. If I had anything left to plan, I would have, like, horribly miscalculated.
And yet you're just now trying on a dress.
We didn't say she was smart.
Oh, it's Anna. Hello? Have you watched Frozen?
It's Trula.
It's Anna. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers Season 7, Episode 15, Ain't Miss Debatin', and Episode 16, Eggs for Days. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our Patreon, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.